This episode is made possible by New Masters Academy, the world's absolute #1 online art school in the entire planet. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. I am deep in the annals of your mind. I am deep in the annals of your... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe After Hours podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Vincent. Yet again, 2022, yet again, a background designer for the Hollywood animation industry.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Now today we're going to talk about Netflix is laying off people.
And what this means for creators. But before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, please, and thank you. It helps our channel out.
There is a little hand. I want you to click on that little hand.
It sprouts confetti.
Yes, it does. We hope you're doing well. I hope you've missed us. We've missed you so much. It's been a long, dusty 2 weeks.
Yes.
And we're super happy to be here. We're super happy to show off our new place. Janet, where are we? How should we even tell this to the audience? I don't even know how. How should we even say this?
We are in our new home.
We are in our new home. We have bought property. We have bought property in which state?
In Arizona.
But where in Arizona?
In Prescott.
We have bought property in Prescott, Arizona.
Yes. This set is a work in progress.
Still a work in progress.
But hopefully we will be able to show off our view for you every single week.
Yes.
Better and better as the weeks go on.
Yes. This show, ever since the very first thing that we did, it's just been a work in progress.
Yes.
From the very beginning.
Yes.
Okay, so we've been gone for about 2 weeks trying to get this house settled in, and a lot has happened. Goodness me. I wish I was there. I wish I was there to talk to you about all of these things and have an entire podcast about some of these things. But we're going to have to breeze through yada through these topics. So
yes.
What's kind of the biggest thing that happened ever since we were gone? What would you say is the #1 biggest?
I would say the #1 right now is Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter. Well, technically, I guess he already bought Twitter, but it takes like 6 months for everything to go through. But
the likelihood is very high.
Yes.
We might as well accept he's probably bought Twitter, but there's like a small percentage of something that could happen that maybe it doesn't happen. But for the most part, I think we can say
yes.
Elon Musk officially owns Twitter,
yes.
which is insanity. It is absolute insanity. And the meltdown, man, we were trying to get, oh my God. Do you remember that day? We were trying to get my bank stuff through for the house, getting this house paid for. And, my God, it happened at we were scrambling from bank to bank, whatever.
Yeah.
It was just a mess of a day.
California's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. That day was a nightmare. Did not go anywhere planned, but what was a huge surprise came out of nowhere. It was being teased for the past few weeks. I feel like we talked about some of it,
yes.
just brushed through it a few podcasts ago, but it's legit now.
Yes.
And the meltdowns.
Yes.
Oh my God! And now there's a Truth and Reconciliation, Minister of Truth, Harry Potter, Umbridge, fucking Diagon Alley, fucking Quidditch, fucking.
Oh my God!
Oh God. That type of shit. Now it's book 7 of Harry Potter.
Yes, everyone wants to tell you what is true, and apparently whatever Elon Musk says is not true.
Apparently.
But he wants to buy Twitter, and I think the world went insane for the past 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
I, on the other hand, was very much well, wait and see. I don't know what he's going to do. At the time, he didn't announce what he was going to do. Why would he, And It's
possible he could make it worse.
Yeah. I mean,
are you optimistic or pessimistic about this buy?
So, I am optimistic.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's optimistic.
At first, I was very ambivalent. I was like, I don't know. He can, everyone is, in a weird way, I felt putting weird words into his mouth. He's about free speech, all this stuff. And I was like, nowhere did he say that, but like as the weeks went on, it became very obvious that like, oh yeah, he does want to change certain things about Twitter. I didn't actually get kind of excited until he recently announced certain things that he was going to do for it. Like, he was going to potentially figure out how to bring monetization to Twitter. And I was like, yes! Like, every single social media platform has that.
Yeah,
like,
we're
Instagram,
trying to get you
Facebook,
to use our stuff
yeah,
so you can make money.
YouTube. Like, literally every single social media platform will pay you in some way if you make good content.
Let us help you by you helping us, so let us help you.
Yeah. Or at least, even before Instagram started, like, monetizing Reels, they had shops. You know, like, what? It's so weird and backwards that Twitter doesn't yes, you can link to things in your bio, but the fact that it doesn't have like a page next to like tweets and stuff that you can just like shop some creators' merch or whatever is like, I don't understand. There are some people who make their living off of Twitter.
And I don't think they make a single cent.
I don't know how they make money.
Yeah.
I know. It's so weird. Like, so people agree with what you say, and then they buy your T-shirt or something. I don't understand.
Donate to your Patreon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't get how Twitter works. But when I heard Elon Musk's idea on monetization and how to just make Twitter up to date in 2022, I thought like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Did you hear about all this talk about maybe having tweets in the blockchain? So they're like super protected or something like that? I don't know. There's just weird, all sorts of weirdness, all sorts of talk, all sorts of speculation.
I just, that sounds weird to me.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest, but it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Blockchains. Tweets and blockchains.
Yeah. So that happened. And also, Dave Chappelle got jumped.
Oh, man. I woke up, you know how, like I say in this podcast, I woke up number 2, you know? We did my number 2. Mm-hmm. I have my Twitter. Mm-hmm. Like, what's going on? It's like, in the 60s, used to be, dad sits in front of the toilet with a newspaper.
Yes.
Modern age, man.
Yes.
Sitting in the toilet with your phone, looking at Twitter. And the first thing I see is like the Hollywood Bowl. It looks like.
Yes.
Was it the Hollywood Bowl?
Yeah, it was.
Who jumped somebody in the Hollywood Bowl? When does that ever happen, man? I can't even. That seems like, how was that even possible? How did security even like not apprehend him right before? But like, he somehow just jumped on stage, and jumped Dave Chappelle. And then, man, and Dave Chappelle's security guards, man, just waste that dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I was, like, barely awake when I saw it. I was like, oh, my God. Dave Chappelle got jumped. And then you're like, yeah, I saw. And I think because I didn't have, like, my glasses on, so I didn't see there was an aftermath of the dude's arm and him being, like, put into a stretcher. And it was like blurry to me. I didn't really see what it was. But then like you have to see it. So you showed it to me when I was like very awake. And I was like, the arm should not go that way. How did that happen? Did he like jump and land and that happened to him? Dang. And then we heard that Dave Chappelle's bodyguards.
No, you can see some of it. At the tail end of the video.
I didn't watch all, because I didn't care that much. But I didn't watch all the way.
Well, it was just one of the many things.
Oh.
But I thought that was crazy because of the Will Smith thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, now there's a pattern here. Uh-oh.
Yeah, but at the same, I was like, I don't know. I don't think it was because of Will Smith. I think it's just he's a crazy person.
You think that if the Will Smith thing didn't happen, that guy wouldn't have jumped Dave Chappelle?
I mean,
you think it was always in destiny?
Yes.
For Dave Chappelle to get mauled in the Hollywood Bowl?
I do think so. This person's just crazy. I was actually kind of shocked at how little people care about this guy and what happened to him, because I was like, is it too far? I get like he shouldn't have done that, but like is there a point that you went too far, like beating up on this guy where his arm is like bent the other direction?
Probably, but nobody's talking
Yeah,
about
no one cares. Everyone's like, yeah, he deserved it. And I'm like, oh. Anyone else doing that to anybody else, they'd go to jail. But
On a scale of 1 to 5, how much did he deserve it?
like 10.
Okay.
Like, yeah, all the way to 10. Way past 5. So I get why people don't care. But I'm just like...
Way past 5.
I'm just amused that, like, there are certain people, you do certain things to them, and people are like, yeah, piece of trash.
Oh, and did you see Chris Rock say, "Oh, who is that? Will Smith?" He was like, "Was that Will Smith?"
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
A little bit after, like, he
Oh my
like
God.
glomped Dave Chappelle basically and said, "Was that Will Smith?" And I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god,
Chris Rock's like, you got attacked, I got attacked, we're in the same club here.
oh my god, Jesus Christ!" Like, he's never gonna let Will Smith live it down.
So
man.
that
Ever.
day, I saw in all the
Comments on
comments
Twitter.
of the tweet, I don't know what it's called, just everyone just dunking on Will Smith. Like, oh, Will Smith back at it again. And I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. He's never gonna live it down.
And then in more ridiculous news, did you see Amber Heard? Like, yes, we know. Like, it's talk of the town. No matter where we go to Phoenix, we go to LA, we go to
Yes.
Prescott.
Yes.
Everyone, for some strange reason. This is, to me, the least interesting thing.
Yes.
And of all of the things, there are many things I wish I could get into. But the Amber Heard Johnny Depp stuff to me is just like boring. But to me, when the shit got crazy was that video that went around on Twitter of her seemingly in court taking a little
A bump.
a bump of snow, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like blatantly in front of the court.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, to me, maybe I'm just like seeing things. But man, does it look like her eyes dilate and she like shifts back and forth going like, I'm so slick right now. You know what I mean? But it's just craziness.
Yeah,
Just seems
I
crazy.
don't care about that, but it seems like everyone does. Like, being here reminds me of what the average person cares about. And they don't care about any of the, like, they don't care about Dave Chappelle, they don't care about Elon Musk buying Twitter, they don't care about industry news. They care about Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp thing because they're watching it like it's
the O.J. Simpson
Yeah,
trial or something.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's just the, I don't. It's like it reminds me of this kind of stuff like the O.J. trial when we were growing up. That like people were really into celebrity drama,
Yeah.
and this is that all over again.
Yeah.
Man, I heard just people just gossiping about this like everywhere.
It's their soap opera. Like, of course people aren't watching Netflix because real life is so much more entertaining
Oh,
than
no.
watching this show go down, the show trial.
Janet, speaking of Netflix,
Yes.
what's going on with Netflix, man?
So
Why are
that-
we doing this whole podcast, man? What's going on here?
So out of all the news that happened the past 2 weeks, the one that I care the most about, and I thought was the most interesting, was all the news about Netflix not doing so well. Like, really not doing so well.
I mean, like, people talk about it all the time, like, we're over-exaggerating.
Yeah.
No, we're, like, everything's gonna be fine. The industry's safe. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. But it's
How
not.
safe is it? How safe am I? How safe is everybody? How safe are my peers?
Well, so in animation in Hollywood, a few years back, especially like before Disney Plus, Netflix was viewed as like this, like too big to fail kind of company. Like no one.
Everybody wanted to beat it.
Yes, like they didn't have their streaming services yet, but everyone was scared that if they made their streaming service, it would fail because Netflix is top dog. Netflix has so much market share. Netflix is growing like crazy. Everyone is all about Netflix. But now Netflix is laying people off and their stocks are dropping, and it's like so much is happening with them in the news that people aren't really paying attention to because there's Elon Musk buying Twitter, there's Amber Heard, all this stuff, but like this to me is like more like economy news in a way. Like it affects people's jobs.
Yeah, just 4 years ago, Netflix was the place to be. people left Disney,
Yeah.
DreamWorks, even Sony to work at Netflix because they all thought that this would be like the future. I thought it would be too. There was a point like the first Lightbox, what was it, 2019? I thought like Netflix was there.
Yes.
And the vibe was like they were ready to hire or something, and like you wanted to have an interview with Netflix, you know, out of everyone who was there.
A big display. They were going around talking to people, poaching people, essentially.
And then 4 years later,
4 years later, they're laying people off. So I have some articles pulled up so that I'm not just...
Janet Data Chan over here with the laptop.
I'm not just talking out of my ass. This all started about a month or so ago. Netflix lost $54 billion in one day. Their stock dropped, well, in market value. Their stock dropped really drastically in one day, mostly because they came out with their quarterly earnings report, whatever, where they said they lost 200,000 subscribers. When previously, like right before this, they were like hyping all their investors up about how, oh, we're growing,
Squid Game.
Yeah, we have Squid Game, we're still top dog, we're still growing, everything's fine. So because of this, Netflix got hit with a lot of things. They got a lawsuit by investors because they felt like Netflix lied to them by overhyping up how well they were doing, and so people would like buy their stocks or invest in them, and then when they announced very quickly after that, like, oh yeah, we lost 200,000 subscribers, and then the stock dropped really, like, so drastically. The lawsuit, the investors are like, hey, we want damages. We would not have invested in your company if we knew that it's on some kind of downward trajectory. And because of that, it's causing this like weird fear spiral, I think. Netflix has continued to lose value in stocks.
I remember we talked about Squid Game, and you said something like, if it weren't for Squid Game, Netflix would have been kaput.
Yeah.
And now Squid Game has run its course.
Yes. And now what?
And now what?
Yeah, what are people gonna watch? So after they lost all this money, I'm sure everyone there is running around with their heads cut off trying to figure out, what to do. When your company's losing money, they're gonna lay off people. So we saw a lot of layoffs. They laid off a bunch of people at their fan site thing to dumb. And they also laid off...
Is that based on the onomatopoeia?
Yes.
Of when you turn on Netflix, it goes... Da-dum.
Yes. They laid them off, and then they got into a bunch of like backlash from so people who dislike Netflix are like, haha, Netflix is laying off people. But then they also got a lot of backlash from reporters and people on the left because they made a big deal about hiring diversely, like hiring a lot of black people to basically
people of color.
That term to me sounds more racist than
I'm just using their terminology.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I just like that phrase. But yes.
POCs, as they say.
Yes. And then they just had to fire them. So then a lot of journal outlets, news outlets, basically like NPR made articles about Netflix being like, oh, so much for diversity, you just laid off all your African American workers. And so it's like they can't win right now. They really can't win. They also laid off a bunch of people on marketing, in their marketing staff, which is weird because like when you lay off marketing, that's like
your most important.
Yeah. Well, one of
your most important people.
And when I saw that, I knew, like, they're not gonna say this outright because it's gonna cause a lot of panic, but I knew, like, the next step is to start laying off creatives. and people making the shows, and to start canceling shows. Because I was like, if they're laying off people at Tudum and they're laying off marketing, what else aren't they saying? There are a lot of shows in development that are like kind of wink and a nod by the company. You know it's like about to be greenlit. It is pretty much greenlit. But like when shit hits the fan like this, they're not technically, so a lot of those shows get axed, a lot of people get fired, but it's not as big of a deal as like saying we're canceling a show because that show already exists. People already know. Maybe some people already watch it. It's you kind of have to announce it to the world. But there are probably a lot of shows in development that were just axed. A lot of people let go, and I would assume they're gonna stop shows that are already announced that were just fluff shows. So when I saw them announce that they're canceling Meghan Markle's animated show, Pearl.
It's crazy that she was about to have an animated TV show.
Yeah. I was like, yep, sounds about right, because animation is probably the first thing I would assume would get cut. If I were the Netflix executives and I looked at my content library, I would look at Bridgerton, I would look at Squid Game, all my live action shows, and be like, well, pretty cheap to make, pretty cheap to distribute, whatever they make. People actually watch these shows. I know for a fact a lot of those animated shows are just fluff shows. They invested the bare minimum to just bolster their catalog of shows that they have. I'd look at those and be like, yeah, people don't need to watch that. This is just to make our catalog look big, but it's rough. It's rough right now. So I was like, yeah. What did I say? I've been saying this for years now, since the beginning of my existence on the internet, that when times are hard, you're going to get laid off. What is this animation? What is this Hollywood is always going to exist the way it is? It's always going to be so strong.
They didn't believe you. They didn't believe you, man. No one believed Janet.
Yeah.
No one believed Janet. Now Janet pieced out.
Yeah. And I feel like will happily become more and more removed from the industry, from Hollywood, and I would like to report on these things from a distance. This is very comforting to know that I am far, far away from you crazies. So why do you think this is happening?
I think this is happening because people don't want to watch streaming shows. I don't think people even want to watch TV. I think people were stuck in their four walls watching a screen for however long, wherever they stayed at, whatever state, country, forced them to do the COVID thing, right?
Yes.
And then now, after what, even for us, we watched so many movies, but it came to a point when things started opening up that as you can see, we went traveling, we went house hunting, we visited all sorts of states, went to Dallas, all these things. And I don't miss the TV at all.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about something this morning, and I was thinking about how some of the shows that we all came together as people, no matter what kind of person you are, you come together and watch Breaking Bad we all were riveted from beginning to end, from Walter's diagnosis to the end of his life, just riveted, right? And then you watch Game of Thrones, and I was thinking about man, boy, does it suck when you invested almost a decade on this TV show that has been stalled so many times, and then the seasons get shorter and shorter and shorter, and then it just ends in the poorest way.
Yeah.
And you hear all of this stuff about how people don't like that Wheel of Time show. Everyone's trying to recreate the magic of a Breaking Bad, a Game of Thrones, but man, you can't screw with your audience that hard, man.
Yeah.
Or else people really think that people wouldn't go out there and do something other than watch TV. Like, I know it's a cliche that us Americans love eating hamburgers and watching TV. Man, the sky looks amazing right now. Like, eating hamburgers and watching TV. But, like, yes, we do love doing that. But if push came to shove, I think we'd go out there again. Don't you think?
So I was thinking about, is this a permanent change in behavior, in people's behavior, or is this temporary?
It's a period, I think.
I think it's more permanent.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because I thought people would, get their fill of travel and whatever in like maybe a month or two. But the fact that it's continued and it's on the rise, like, as everything is going down, as Netflix, even Disney, stocks are plummeting, travel spending is going up like crazy, stuff like that. And I feel like, well, if you look at our behavior, it's like, well, we moved, and in that time we didn't have cable and we didn't even really have internet, and I didn't miss it. I was like super happy to just exist outside in the great weather. It's such a relief from being stuck inside, and I think it's going to be more a permanent change, because a lot of people we're hoping that after the pandemic, there will be some kind of normalcy, like going back to normal, going back to work, that kind of thing. But I don't think so. I think this is such a big change that, like, people who are working from home now, why do they want to go back to work? You're gonna have to really, like, change people's behavior again to want to go back to work, and it's stuff like that. And I feel like behavior has changed pretty permanently.
You really don't think people are going to go back to sitting around, like the opening of The Simpsons, sitting around in front of the TV communally?
No, I don't think so. Because I don't know what it is. I don't think parents watch TV with their kids anymore.
I don't think their kids want to watch TV with their parents.
Like, everyone can be on their own devices.
Maybe they'll come together and watch Doctor Strange or something. Which we'll see the numbers. Oh, I'm so excited. Woo, so excited to see those box office numbers. Ooh.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good so far. Yeah. People are kind of poo-pooing it on Twitter.
And I probably won't even watch it. Like,
I don't care.
I love Doctor Strange. I love that movie. But when you told me Sam Raimi is replacing
Scott Derrickson, who directed,
I was like, no.
Sinister. That's what he directed.
Yeah. But then I had this interesting thought, because you were like, man, there's so many bad, like, everyone always says this, there's so many bad shows. Of course Netflix is found, there's so many bad shows. And I was like, but there's always been bad shows.
Huh.
I thought about it really clear, like, the reasons why we canceled Netflix a long time before everyone started canceling Netflix was because Netflix has a lot of fluff shows, but then, like, when you sit down and watch them, they're like B shows. They're not necessarily bad. They're like just kind of like bad TV shows, and I like bad TV shows. I like things like literally everything on USA, like NCIS. I like Law and Order.
Collar.
Yes, Lie to Me.
Right.
The things like they're not necessarily good shows. And, like, they're kind of just paint by numbers crime or investigative shows
with a twist. This person is a mentalist.
Yes, or whatever. And I thought, like, so why did I watch those shows? Because they're on all the time on cable. Or, like, I would have never watched Fringe ever, but it came on after a show I really wanted to watch, something like So You Think You Can Dance, some reality TV show I was watching. So, like, that's how cable gets you to watch these B shows that, like, maybe they end up being good, who knows, but streaming doesn't have that. So, like, when someone like me could get addicted to, like, a very whatever show like NCIS, I don't think I would choose to watch NCIS on a streaming
You really
thing.
think that's a whatever show? Oh, well, I guess so, compared to
like,
what?
Breaking Bad.
Okay.
You know, like,
you would say Breaking Bad is kind of the metric, or something like Sopranos, or
yes,
the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, something like that.
Yes. Yes, where people,
that's good TV.
Yeah,
man.
people like rant and
Fire.
rave about the episodes, about how well they're directed, about how, like, yeah, those type of shows. Meanwhile, now, what do we have? We have Euphoria, we have Bridgerton, we have Squid Game.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
That's literally about it. And
Ozark.
no,
Kind of like a Breaking Bad.
I think I canceled.
No, it's on its final season.
Yeah, I got canceled.
Oh, okay.
That's how you know.
Actually, yeah, it's the same thing.
Final season basically got canceled.
Or the story is ending.
Yeah, and I think like what I realized about this is like with the streaming wars, everyone is taking their channel on cable and turning it into their own little streaming service. And I was like, that's a little egotistical, I think, of these companies. Because I was like, you buy cable because you don't watch all the TV shows on a very particular channel.
You wanted to specifically watch reruns of The Office and Community. So you had Hulu. And now Hulu is wherever. And now, like, Peacock only has these shows, and it's only at Peacock.
Or Paramount Plus or whatever.
And why, like, I remember when we, like, I think like 5 years ago, we were like, one day every studio is going to have a streaming service, and then what then? It'll be exactly or more expensive than what people paid for with the cable.
Yeah.
And it's at this point, and I'm at this point where it's not even a dilemma anymore because there's nothing worth watching.
Yeah.
So might as well, as what do the kids call it? It's like this newfangled thing they do. It's called, no, not chuggy.
Oh.
You're a chuggy.
I'm chuggy.
They touch grass. I think that's what they call it.
Yes.
I think people are touching grass.
Yes.
I think that's what they're trying to do. Touching grass, smoking grass. Something like that.
I think Disney, for example, was like, oh, we're Disney. People will totally pay top dollar to watch the Disney Channel if it were a streaming service. But then I'm like, no, it's like people want to watch like a few shows, a few movies or whatever, and same with like Paramount Plus. Like when you isolate any channel in a cable package and you go, would you buy that channel specifically? Do you really watch all the shows on this channel provides? Most people say no. They get the cable package because they're like, I want to watch Simpsons occasionally, I want to watch The Office occasionally, I want to watch Curbed, I want to watch HBO if I'm like, and Disney if
and that's what I want. I want the complete package. I don't want to just pay for these single individual things, or else I'm not going to be able to watch anything.
Yeah. But now that
I might as well get cable again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then you don't have like the
the only like difference is that these shows are slotted in time slots.
Yeah.
It's you cannot choose what you want to watch, but in a way that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
You just kind of let the show happen and you try to like catch it. It's fun.
You
make time for the show.
You don't have decision fatigue.
I can't believe we're making a case for cable, but like whenever we go to a Airbnb or a hotel, it's always really nice. It's like, hey, what's the cable?
Yeah,
what's on the cable? And lately we've been listening to the radio. Usually I'd be just pulling up Spotify playlists.
Yes.
But here in Prescott, the radio is fucking insane. You go and they have like old school, as they call it, dad head rap, and then you shift some channels, and then you're like, listening to some classic rock, and then you shift another channel. It's actually indie rock. And then you shift another channel, and then just like 5 channels of country, five channels of country, and we've been stuck on this like contemporary country channel. What are your top phrases from the top of your head? This past couple of weeks, just listening to random country pop tunes, contemporary ones. What are the the lines that stick to your head?
I like, if you want, I'll give you my 2 cents to make a buck. I was like, that's really smart. I really like that. I'm gonna steal that from now on. What's one of yours?
The God is great, beer is good. When I heard that driving, to and fro, picking up groceries or whatever, I would hear that song and I'd be like, oh my God. The first time I just died laughing. I was just like, this is so, like, such a awful cliche, but it's so perfect.
It's so unapologetically
country.
And it's so simple. Like, if you like the simple life, that is a phrase that should go on our wall. God is great, beer is good. What more do you need when the beer is good and God is great, I guess.
And then And then just listening, like, I'm sorry we're going on this country music tangent, but it's just hilarious. I've been so enamored. I actually get excited driving to the gym with you in the morning or picking up groceries because I get to listen to the country channel and just, like, listen. And some of it's just really, like, I think country music's, like, it reminds me of the 90s pop tunes, or even, like, the alternative pop tune, like, indie rock that we listen to, which is basically just, like, pop tunes, but, like, rockified.
Yes.
Like, for example, like, if you listen to Complicated by Avril Lavigne again, if you know that songs are turned in a factory, like they come out of Nashville,
just like Hollywood,
like that song, you take that song, give it to Taylor Swift, or you give it to any, like, you know, up and coming pop star, it'll sound like a country song, but in context it's just like, and you fall and you break and you take. It's just ridiculous. And it's just like, man, there's some songs that are so not memorable to me, but then there's some songs that I'm like, oh, wow, that's a really good one. And then you hear, like, oh, that was Zach Brown Band. Zach Brown Band. And I was like, oh, my God, no wonder. You know what I mean?
Influences of, like, the Beatles and stuff. Like, wow.
There's, like, a harmony section in that country song. It's pretty dope.
Anyways.
I can't believe this is our life. It's so strange.
I know.
I have lived in the city for 30 years and now I'm this. It's so hard to slow down, man.
I love this life. It is great.
We have to tell ourselves to slow down all the time.
Oh, there's another phrase you like. If I die, please bring me back as a country boy.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. There's the one about a redneck.
Yeah, and my neck don't come out red. Just keep me dead.
If my neck don't come out red, keep me dead.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh God. It's just like one of those times where just like die laughing in the car. Like, oh my God.
And it's not out of disrespect.
No,
like, this is great writing to me. This is amazing. It's so self-aware. I like country music lyrics. They're hilarious.
Janet has liked country music for a long time. It's very strange.
It's very similar to pop.
I was never really into it until like college, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's my parents were country bumpkins in China, and I am that at heart, maybe. I have been listening to Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche. If you want to get your philosophy on, head over to audibletrial.com/The Honey and Absinthe Podcast to get your one free audiobook. That's audibletrial.com/The Honey and Absinthe Podcast.
Speaking of Netflix, did we talk about how they got a lawsuit by investors? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And Netflix obviously isn't the only one in trouble.
Yeah.
And Disney's in trouble.
Disney's losing value rapidly too, and Disney does this thing. Even when I was working there, where like every once in a while they will announce a show, but then they'll quietly cancel it without telling anyone. That happened when I was there, and I was like, wow. It's amazing how no one cares, too. That, like, a bunch of people just lost their jobs. And, like, they're not going to make big news about it. But what's really interesting is a lot of people, like I said, in the industry, in Hollywood, view these companies as, like, too big to fail. Especially when you're drinking the Kool-Aid, you think, like, you're doing the next big thing, and it, like, streaming is the future, that it's so promising, all that stuff. But I feel like the more realistic way of looking at it is from the perspective of the finance people. So I was watching.
Why is it important to think about the finance people? They're just dumb rich people.
I think they're the people who are most realistic about what is going to happen in the future, because they're paying attention to stocks. They do not care about legacy, the emotional aspect of the stock itself. They don't care that you think Disney is too big to fail. I think people who work in it are too emotional about it. So everyone thinks the industry that they work in is the most important one ever. You know, like doctors all think they're the most important ever. Lawyers all think that. Hollywood people all think that. Like everyone thinks their universe revolves around the industry that they are in. And I think when I heard Meet Kevin talk about Netflix and Disney Plus, how he went out of those because he was like, these are like newfangled things. We don't know if it's going to stick. We don't know if people are going to stay for the long run, so I'm not putting my money in that. I was like, that is the average investor. The average investor thinks that about Netflix and Disney Plus. And I was like, I wish more people were that pragmatic about that. And he also said that Etsy and Shopify are down.
Oh man.
So as a whole, creatives, artists as a whole are not in a good place right now in terms of money, jobs, economy, everything.
You're such a downer, Janet. You're such a downer.
Yeah. Sorry. But
you're not really sorry. You sorry?
No. But you know, I can't just be a downer. I want to provide my 2 cents to make a buck. What creators can do in the meantime.
You're never gonna stop saying that.
I'm never gonna stop. It's so good. It's such a good phrase.
Got it from a country song.
Man. I obviously a lot of creative types are going to flock to teaching, and they already have. Actually, a lot of people are creating online courses, stuff like that. And I think that's fine. I think that's one of the things you can do when the economy is bad and nobody wants to hire you. You can teach. But in my opinion, I don't think most people should teach. I don't think our peers, I don't think we are qualified to teach. You know, and like, I don't even think if you have 10 years in the industry, you can teach. Like, I think you have to be someone who's suited to teaching. And I think you have to really have, like, experienced life. Experienced reality. Because, okay, so I recently found out that
here we go.
Our alma mater, Art Center, had a whole firing and hiring because of a lot of allegations that came to light about the teachers that taught us. But I don't really want to get into that right now. But they hired a bunch of our peers, is what I'm getting at. And I have to say, like, I feel kind of bad for incoming college students because they don't know that they're, in my opinion, are getting a lesser education.
I'm rooting for you. The future depends on you. Don't let us down.
We know for a fact that some of these people, the reason why they're teaching is because they couldn't get that next job. Like, we know this. Like, we know these people. Like, they couldn't get their next job, so they're teaching. And they don't even have that much experience. And I just feel like that's fine, like, whatever. But with this education is really becoming more and more like snake oil. And like creatives are turning into snake oil salesmen. And it kind of upsets me a little bit, but then I'm like, you know what, like, it takes two to tango, and I think the people getting duped are equally to blame. I didn't used to feel this way. I used to be a lot more empathetic towards the people getting duped. But I think...
What, you're not empathetic towards the students anymore?
I am a lot less empathetic now.
Wow, Janet, that's awful of you to say. Why?
Because it takes a certain amount of delusion and ego to close your ears to common sense.
If you were born at a time where you were coming out or getting into college, art school, what would you be thinking? Would you still believe that, like, right now, like, if you were, like, graduating right now, let's say, or no, you were about to get into an art school, you're halfway through an art school, what would you be thinking?
I would be scared that I wouldn't have a job. But I would be confused that all of my teachers are saying stuff like, listen to me, and if you just do everything that I say, you are guaranteed a job, when they themselves are not working, and they themselves like are not telling me that Netflix just laid off like all like when I was in school, I kept up with news, so I wasn't like I knew the job market wasn't good when we graduated. I have a sneaking suspicion a lot of young people in college do not know the state of the economy right now, and they don't know what is going to happen to you when you graduate. Nothing. Not like,
if you were to indulge, how bad is it?
It's really bad.
Like, really indulge and explain how bad is it right now. How bad is it?
It's the kind of bad where why would they hire? If they hire you, it's because they fired someone a lot more experienced than you so that they can pay you peanuts because they don't have money. And if they did not hire you, because why would they need to rely on more experienced people to make the really if they're canceling shows like Pearl, what are they keeping? They're keeping the shows that are like they're gonna put top dollar into, they're top talent into. So you can't rely on these companies anymore for work when you graduate. Like this idea that I'm going to pay at this point $200,000 to $300,000 for a degree, and I will be guaranteed a job because I'm in such a specialized field, and my teacher told me that if you just listen to me, I'm going to give you all the opportunities. You're going to have such an upper hand because you studied under me, you went to this school. It's not true, because like you're gonna come out and you're going to like everyone is fending for themselves, and you can't rely on, because at this point you're competing with your teacher for work. Like a lot of people don't understand that. Like we understood that in college, because our college was a little bit different. Like our teachers would straight up they would treat the people who graduated chummier, and I noticed it was a coworker relationship now, rather than a you are forever my student, and like because it's different. Like you literally are competing with your teachers when you graduate, so why would they hire you? And I if you cannot rely on the companies for jobs, what can you do? You can freelance, you can make your own business, you can make your own job, that kind of thing. And it's different even from when we were trying to do that because we couldn't get hired. We could go to conventions, we can sell our art, whatever. We did not realize how lucky we were. We were selling prints of like anime and comic book people. And we didn't realize it was a booming economy at the time. And people were willing to spend their extra pocket change on wall art. If you graduate as an illustrator or as an artist or whatever, you're looking for work, I think gone are the days that you can be like, I'm going to be a fine artist, I'm going to make a beautiful painting, and some rich person is going to buy it and put it in their house, and that's how I'm going to make a living. Or I'm going to be a children's book illustrator, I'm going to make this big ass following on Instagram, and then I'm going to like make a book, and I'm going to sell thousands of these books and make a living that way. I don't think you can do that anymore, because Etsy and Shopify are down. Like, clearly people are not buying discretionary things anymore. Things that they're trying to save for oil, for gas, for groceries, for whatever, for even to travel. People would rather save to travel or to move. I think you have to provide a service or a product that solves a problem as a creative now, as a creator.
That's why it makes sense to be a teacher, because you know how to do X thing, hopefully, and then you teach young people, so it's a service.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is getting really oversaturated.
Yes. I think everyone, all of a sudden, like, the education space blew up, and everyone's like, I want a piece of the pie. But unfortunately, not everyone are reputable teachers or know how to, do the thing they're trying to sell you. Examples of this would be things like filmography. You can do filmography for companies, shoot someone's commercial, whatever, music video, who knows. Graphic design is always going to be sought after, especially if you know how to market yourself. Everyone needs advertisement. Everyone needs a business card. Everyone needs someone to design their shop sign, the windows, whatever.
Storefront.
Yeah.
Right.
And things like product design, obviously. You're basically just inventing and creating things. So
What happens to the people who just draw good, though?
unfortunately, you have to... I think the easiest way to get money, get a job, is to provide a service and a product that solves a problem. So if you just draw good, I don't know, I'm sorry, you gotta figure out something. You gotta figure out how to be a graphic designer or something. So what are we recommending this week?
That sounds like... Wait.
Okay,
That sounds like you gotta have some sort of positive light here. Come on. Give them some sort of positive light.
That is positive.
What? Really?
Yeah.
How is it positive? What?
But if you can figure out if you can be creative and figure out how to put your talents to the test and actually maybe build some talent stacks, like combine your illustrative know-how, which is actually a pretty unique skill that a lot of people don't have, with anything else. Building furniture, painting signage for businesses that need it, or like stuff like that. I think you could be really sought after, and you can develop a niche of your own, or a job, like a whole new job title of your own, a whole business of your own. Like, I think this is a great Like, I don't see bad times as a negative thing ever. I see it as an opportunity for something better. And that's something I learned kind of from Dave Ramsey. When someone would say, like, oh, I got laid off, he would be like, I'm sorry to hear that, but this isn't your opportunity to get paid more. And, like, I look at that as, like, this is a challenge for creative people. If you are so creative, then figure it out. Like, it's not...
What would you say to the people who are scared? All this stuff is... You're frightening people. What did you say?
Welcome to real life.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't like when people are like, you stop telling people this. You're scaring people. Like, what do you think? Would you rather hear the hard truth and reality of life? Or do you want to be like, graduate college and then be like, oh, a job's just gonna land on my lap, and then like 10 years go by and you're still just hopelessly led astray by these people who are like, don't worry, your time will come, don't worry, just pay me more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Janet's just like, Janet, you gotta be tough, Chan.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, today I'm recommending King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard's new album. It's absolutely magnificent. It's called Omnium something. It's called Omnium Gatherum.
Wow. Omnium Gatherum.
And I've loved this band ever since 2016. It's been a while now. And they've been consistently releasing music. And like, I think out of all the things that's come out since 2016, this is their most accessible. Mm-hmm. You're going to have such a great time. So if you have a good pair of earphones, or if you have a good pair of monitors, whatever, set aside 45 minutes or an hour. I don't really know how long this is. Let's say, wait. This album is about 1 hour. Holy shit. This is an hour and 20 minutes. It's worth it. You sit there for an hour and 20 minutes. Oh my God. You're going to be transported into another dimension. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Listen to it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The first track is I think about 20 minutes long. Oh my God. Eargasm.
They were
Eargasm.
at Coachella,
They were at Coachella.
which is crazy.
They were shitting on the first weekend.
Yeah.
First weekender people because they said they were lame.
Anybody who doesn't know, weekend one of Coachella, don't go to weekend one if you're actually about music, because it's all just an influencer nightmare.
The clout chases.
Yes.
They're chasing the clout.
Yes, because they want to be first to post on Instagram to hype it up so that all you people are FOMO'd into being like, oh my god, I wish I could go.
And then all the normies who actually want to listen to the music, they go the following weekend.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's weird because King Gizzard was so
Small, man.
not Coachella
No.
friendly. But they were finally at Coachella. It's crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
They're becoming mainstream. That's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
If you like this episode, make sure to like, jingle all our bells and buttons. Check out these other episodes next to binge all our other episodes. And we'll see you next time.
Why?